Hi, and welcome back to part 2 of tonight's show, which is talking about charity groups. And tonight we gave you 2-segment show, 2 different charity groups. So let's continue tonight's show with another charity group who I've served with myself, and let's introduce them. It's Coptic Orphans, and we have with us here Nermien, who is the Executive Director of Coptic Orphans. And we also have a very special guest who's here with her today, Mr. Ahmed Rafla, who is a sponsor of a child from one of these programs in Egypt. So before I start the show, I want to focus on you, Ahmed, and talk about your role and what does it mean to be a sponsor, and what do you do?
We do very little, to be quite honest. All what we do is we sponsor a child, we pay a certain amount of money, a monthly payment, and that money goes to the organization, and the organization does the rest. So our involvement was, apart from just paying and being regular in our payments, that ends. But the experience I had changed my mind about sponsoring, and I'm determined to do more than just like pay money and that's it. Now, definitely I will.
What's the child's name?
Demiana.
And how old is she?
She's about 19 now.
Okay. Wow.
And lucky she's a girl, because I have 2 boys, so it's good to have a girl as well.
Okay. Wow. Do you have any stories you want to share with us?
Yes, actually, and that's the story that changed my way of thinking, to be quite honest. Last October, we visited Egypt, and while we were preparing the visit, we thought of going and seeing the child we sponsored. Especially, we sponsored her maybe since she was in year 5 or year 6, around that. My wife was the main contact person. She was always writing to her, and Demiana writing back to my wife. I wasn't really involved until the organization arranged for us to go and visit her. And I was blown away, to be quite honest. I saw a young girl with a lion of heart, with a heart of lion. She doesn't leave her rights. She pursued all the way. And who raised her up is servants. Really, I can't really give them justice if I describe them as real fathers for her. I met the servant who normally look after her, and he was a lovely person, really lovely person. Very qualified, in the way he deals with her, and he meets her needs. That's one. The other person, actually, he took us from Cairo all the way to the village where the girl is. Let me share with you a little story that really touched me a lot. In year 12, she got, I think, 86 percentile in her HSC, and she felt that wasn't the right mark for her. So she requested.
We're talking about the servant here?
No, the girl,
Demiana.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she went for year 12. She got 86 percentile, and she thought that that's not her mark. Then, through the help of the servants, they supported her and told her, if you wish to, to review your marks, they give her enough support and confidence. So she went and reviewed the marks and realized that she wasn't getting the right marking. Like she answered the proper answer, but yet, for example, a question that was 4 marks, she was getting 1. So she said, no, that's not fair. Then they stood by her and they told her, if you wish to go all the way down, we will support you 110%. And so she went to court. And I understand the feeling of, you know, an orphan in a village, girl, you know, in such, you know, environment. It's very hard unless she really feels the support of the organization. She wouldn't dare to do that, and I perfectly understand that. But she went to court, and you know, giving the glory to God, the judge granted her actually 98 percentile.
Wow.
Yeah, and not only that, she went to the judge and she told him, because that happened after almost 6 months from the beginning of the study in the new year. So she told him, okay, you gave me what I deserve, but yet I lost a year because I can't enroll in medicine, because she wanted to go to medicine. I can't enroll until next year. So God maybe talked in his heart or something. So he granted her to study course. It's a double degree. It's medicine and military studies. So when she graduates, she becomes an army officer and a doctor at the same time.
Wow.
Which is amazing. Not only that, but also he grant her someone to stay with her every week, so she can catch up with what she left, because there were 6 months already passed through the course. So the bit that really, you know, like was the turning point for me was when we said, let's read Psalm from the Bible, and everyone, you know, like contemplate. So we chose the Lord's my shepherd. And you should listen to the contemplations from the 2 servants who served Nermien. They really, really filled with the Holy Spirit. You feel that, and being at my age, I can really tell who's just talking and who's really filled with the Holy Spirit, who really means what he says. And her comment was really amazing. She said, God promised that he will be the father of the orphans. And I felt that God stood up for me, and he spoke in the judge's heart and controlled the judge's heart so he can give me what I deserve. I said, this service really worth everything, and needs a lot of support, and we have to give it all what we can, because they're not only looking after the orphans, but also they provide them with the chance to progress in life, not just meeting the essential needs, but going further to give them opportunity to develop and to excel and to find way in life. Maybe if without the organization, definitely you wouldn't have it.
Wow. Okay. Look, I want you to hold your thoughts, because we're going to come back to you and talk more about Nermien and what you do with her. Nermien, please, I'd love to hear, and the audience would love to hear more about your organization. We have a clip that's coming up soon, but please, you can start off and talk more about Coptic Orphans.
Certainly, certainly. Mina, it's wonderful to be back again. It's our 30-year anniversary, so there's 30 years of talking that I can do, but I won't do that. Our focus is on the fatherless child throughout all of Egypt. We started with 45 children. We've reached over 45,000 children. And we realized that the way to do it is through education and the changing of the mind. So how Nermien sees herself, how she sees God, how she sees the others. This change of mindset is what will, you just put them and let them go, and they will succeed in amazing ways. We have, as Ahmed had said about our volunteers, 450 volunteer reps that are the ones serving the children. Also very amazing people. And indeed, the organization, one of the things we do is we really, really invest in them. Trainings, every 3 months, training. And I think that's what Ahmed also saw, is this, it became very clear. These people know what they're doing. So we have, just in that one program, 10,000 other children like Nermien. And this is the challenge. Yeah. Is I would imagine there's another 10,000 that we haven't begun to reach, and that's the goal, God willing.
Wow. So you find that the children who are fatherless, obviously because there's no income coming into their household, and not having a father figure, the mother is left alone to fend for herself, and you're there to support not just the child, but the mother also. Yeah,
I'll tell you a story when you mentioned that. I remember we actually went to the village. It's called Shishina al-Gizira or Shusha al-Gizira, something like that. And my staff member walked in, and what we do is we accept more and more children, of course, as their fathers die, but we verify that indeed they meet all the requirements and they're going to be in school, they're in school or they will be in school and such. And so as part of this interviewing process, I remember Michael, our staff member, he walks in and then he sees a 16-year-old, he sees a 3-year-old, and something like 6 months old. And he comes in and says hello to each one and says to the girl, where's Mama? And she looked at him, I am Mama. Oh. 16 years old. She's not only Mama, she's a widow at 16 with 2 children. How would she survive? I went and visited her, Yusuf, her name. They're doing so well now, thank God. But can you imagine being 16 with 2 kids, no income, no money, she herself is not educated or not learned. So this is what's out there. But the potential, Amina, is so great. Can I tell you one more story?
Yes, you can. We love stories.
Okay, my favorite story. This one, actually, the young man is named Ahmed, and he's in 5th grade, and from the town of Maymoun, which is near Beni Suef, like this, or in Beni Suef. So I remember going to Ahmed, 5th grade. I want to make sure that he knows how to read, and Ahmed, are you doing well? Can you get me something, that you're reading? Because we realize there's a lot of kids that don't know how to read. So Ahmed, he did well. So I say to him, Ahmed, so what do you like to do in your spare time? And he says, I like to read the newspaper. I'm like, oh, that's really cute. 5th grader, some year 5 likes to read the newspaper. What section of the newspaper? He says the economic section. Like the economic section. Ahmed, tell me something that you've read recently. He goes, oh, well, the housing crash that caused the problems on Wall Street and affected the bank closures in London, and of course the dollar going down vis-a-vis the euro. A 5th grader. He's only like 10 years old, whatever. My mouth was wide open, like I can't believe Ahmed is telling me all of this. And I was like, Ahmed, so do you get a daily newspaper or is it a weekly? And he goes, oh, no, there's no newspapers here in this village. And where do you read this? And he goes, at school. In the windows when, the sun is coming and they put newspapers to block out the sun, I read those.
Wow. Oh my God.
This boy can easily become the finance minister, and God willing, we'll be after him because he's going to be somebody big. Yeah, there's so much potential that these kids have. And exactly like Ahmed said about Damiana, wow, impressive. But all it takes is a little nudge from us and you see amazing things.
Sure. So the video is ready to go. Just a reminder to our audience members, this is your chance to get involved. This is a live show. We have with us Nermien and Ahmed here tonight from Coptic Orphans. The phone number is 0416 551 292, and we'll roll video now to give you a better understanding of what Coptic Orphans is about.
قرية قهوة بلد صغيرة بعيد عن بني سويف حوالي 7 كيلو. بالنسبة للتعليم هتلاقي معظم الناس هنا مفيش تعليم أصلا أو تعليم بسيط. أنا اسمي ناشد عاطف ناشد من قرية قهوة محافظة بني سويف. من ساعة ما والدي توفى من حوالي 26 سنة والدتي تعبت جدا جدا وقامت بدور الوالد في المصاريف، اشتغلت خياطة.
جوزي توفى يوم 21/3 يوم عيد الأم في سنة 90. فطبعا كنت ولادي كانوا صغيرين خالص، كان ناشد ده عمره 3 شهور وأشرف سنتين. طب اضطر ان انا اشتغل كل يوم على المكنة، كانت خياطة. الجيران وحبايبي كانوا بيجوا بخيط لهم الهدوم والحاجات واظبط هدوم جاهزة وكده. فاحنا رزقنا بيبقى زي رزق السمك كده، اللي الواحد بيروح يصطاد فيه يوم ما فيش يوم فيه، فالواحد بيشكر ربنا على كل حال.
ربنا حط كوبتك اورفنز في طريقي عشان ربنا حس ان انا محتاج شويه، فده يعتبر زي ترتيب من ربنا ان انا اتعرف ان الخدمه تيجي عندنا البيت واشترك فيها. وده كانت حاجه بالنسبه لي حاجه حلوه ومفرحه جدا ان انا الاقي حد يساعدني وقت الزنقه الماديه او وقت ما انا محتاج مساعده.
دخلنا احنا كبرنامج لست وحدك البيت، حاولنا احنا بقدر الامكان نخفف من على الام الكاهل بتاع المصاريف والاعباء اللي هي ايه حضرتك بتبقى عليها.
وقبل الاستاذ ويليام وبعدين قال لي الاستاذ ويليام بيقعد معايا، فبحس ان هو اب كبير ليا. صراحه كان بيجي عندنا كل شهر يقعد معاه شويه ويسهريه ولو عايز حاجه محتاج حاجه، حاسس ان هو ده ابوه. كان بيحكي قريب منه قوي وبيشوفه على طول. طبعا لما كان بيجي عندنا كنا بنبقى فرحانين بيه قوي، تحس ان هو ربنا بيبعته لنا.
افتكر وانا في سنه 6 احتجت اخد كورسات عشان اقوي نفسي في الدراسه، فاحتجت مبلغ كبير 10,000 جنيه. دبرت 5,000 من حد و5,000 كوبتك اورفنز عطتهاني عشان اكمل بيهم مصاريف الكورسات اللي خدتها في سنه 6. أنا دكتور الوحدة الصحية بالقرية، ممارس عام، خريج كلية الطب البشري جامعة بني سويف سنة 2013. أنا هنا شغال في الوحدة بتاع البلد وفاتح عيادة في نفس البلد. كتبت في الدعاية بتاع العيادة إن كشف مجاني لغير القادرين. أنا كنت في يوم من الأيام كنت غير قادر، كنت محتاج، وعشان كده أنا حاسس بكل اللي محتاج وحاسس اللي مش معاه فلوس يدفع حق الكشف. حتى سعر الكشف سعر بسيط جدا جدا مناسب لامكانيات اهل القريه هنا، وفي نفس الوقت في اليوم اللي الواحد يكشف فيه كشف مجاني ربنا بيباركه وبيزيد الكشوفات في اليوم ده، وكأن ربنا مش بيبات مديون لحد. انا كشفت على فقير من غير فلوس، ربنا بيقول لي خلاص خد 5 6 كشوفات زياده عن كل يوم. الخدمه هتطلع اجيال، الخدمه هتساعد ناس كتير. انا اتمنى دلوقتي ان انا اخدم في كوبتك اورفنز واساعد الطلبه الاصغر دول.
Wow, very inspiring video. Thank you for sharing that. So we got 2 questions that came in from audience members, and I encourage audience members to continue sending in 3 questions. The first question that got asked was, are the children that need sponsoring fatherless or motherless or both?
The great majority is fatherless. Maybe about 90% of our children are fatherless. Just as few are both fatherless and motherless. And keep in mind that they're not living in orphanages. They're with the remaining family members, the extended family. Typically what happens when the mother passes away, that the father may remarry, or it's really difficult if the mother passes away. We hope that that doesn't happen.
Sure. Second question is, what criteria, you probably just mentioned that, do the children need to meet to be eligible for sponsorship?
They have to be below the poverty line. They also have to be either in school or younger than school, because our whole focus is education, and therefore we want to keep them in school and push them as far as that they can go, hopefully to a university and become military doctors like Nermien.
Okay. Ahmed, I want to go back to you, and I want to tell you something, and I want you to tell me what you think, and hopefully this can inspire future sponsors out there. So when I was in Egypt, one of the mothers said to us, please, we don't want our sponsor to send us money. We want more letters. My daughter loves receiving letters. She waits and looks forward to these letters, not the money. Now, and you mentioned earlier that you do very little, but your letter is what they want. Your letter is making the big difference. Now, what do you think of that now that I told you what one of the mums said?
Even without hearing what you said, I was determined to keep the communication with Nermien, because now I understand what they go through and what they really need. It's a great honor for me, actually, to write a letter to such a young fighter. She's amazing personality, so it's now definitely I encourage every sponsor, and I'll be the first one to go home and write a letter to Nermien and start establishing that regular communication. And I like actually what the organization does in relation to protecting the children. So I can't send the letter directly to the person. It has to go through the organization, which is, it's a good measure to maintain their privacy, maintain, a sense of protection for those kids. So now I definitely, I'll be reformed now, and I'll start writing letters and engage more, at least try to meet my wife's level, because she does that very well. I do slack sometimes, but now I'll definitely, I'm converted now.
So your letters are making a big difference for her, but when she responds and tells you of her accomplishments, what is it doing for you?
My beautiful girl, she went through one of the leadership courses, and I received a photo for her, with the rest of the team who been in the course. I was tearful, to be quite honest.
Wow.
It's amazing. It's amazing. The feeling is, you can't describe it. You have to really experience it. To sponsor a child and give him opportunity, and see him growing up and engage with them as if it's your real child. What an honor! What a blessing! It's
wow.
You can't feel it until you try it. So, and I regret that I wasn't involved, to be quite honest. I regret that. I wasted all that time, and that's why I decided to sponsor another child.
Yeah.
Yes. So I can, and I made sure that he's young enough so I can, live the full experience from childhood all the way until God give me, the time so I can see him, could be a minister, could be something big, because they are fighters. They are amazing. Amazing.
Wow, that is beautiful. Nermien, please tell us, so sponsorship is one way. What else can we do here in Australia to help these kids?
I want to also add another thing about sponsorship, how much somebody just recently called our office and said, "Oh, my daughter is now heading into college, so I'm sure she'll need some more. So I want to send her some money and such." And I thought I stopped and I was thinking about that. What is it that makes a total stranger way out here in Australia feel that truly that he has a daughter and he's thinking ahead for her? He's thinking about what she will be needing. And I thought to myself, how lovely it is, because this is what any parent would want, that God forbid anything should happen, that my children have no one, that God would send someone that cares about them just as much as I do, So really, this is the most beautiful thing about sponsorship. So I totally encourage everyone to sponsor 2, 3. We've got about 2,000 that need sponsors. If you want to take the whole 2,000, that would be terrific too. We've got no problem about that.
That's a lot of letter writing.
That's a lot of letter writing. So what else here in Australia you can do? Of course, the first and foremost thing, please pray for the service, and we will tell you exactly when to pray. We all pray Monday at 11 a.m. So everybody has to stop, put it on your clocks and your telephones and such. All of us around the world, in the United States, in Canada, in Egypt, in here, in Europe, that at Monday at 11, we stop to pray, first thing. Second thing, of course, we mentioned about sponsorship. And then the third thing, which I highly recommend for anyone 17 and over, is to go and serve in Egypt. And how would you do that? It's very easy. You can teach English. And Australian English is fine too. We accept that as well. And it's for 3 weeks during certain sessions. The next one coming up is going to be the June session. And then there's also a July session. And then there's also a January session. So on our website, CopticOrphans.org, there's the application is already there. And the application deadline is April 1st, God willing. So I highly recommend that people sign up and experience the most beautiful experience they will ever have in their life.
Wow, yeah.
And Mina, I believe you did it.
Yes, I have done it.
You did do the service.
Most memorable experience and transforming experience of my life, yeah. Wow. And when you see the kids and you come back here, you can't help it. You just want to ask about them or even sponsor them. Or a lot of the people that I did the trip with have come back and taken sponsorship.
Exactly. And what's lovely is you always refer to them as my kids. How are my kids doing? My kids. So here we like to have the young people have kids and then they get married. So it doesn't matter.
Well, okay. So let's talk about future plans. You said you want to take on another 10,000 kids?
Yes.
How are we going to go about finding these kids?
The problem is not finding them. They're there. It was funny because when, every year we add children. And so I went to my staff and I said, this year we're adding 1,500 children, new into our roles. And then one area manager kind of calculates it. He goes, because we have 4 areas, and he goes, 250, 300, 50. I could get you that in one village. Oh, like I need more. How we're going to go about that? God willing, we're going to be able to reach every single child that needs it. There was a family that I went and visited in Manfalut, and this family was refusing to be involved in Coptic Orphans. Why? Because to them, Baba hasn't died. Why are you here? Baba isn't dead. That's how traumatized they were. So it didn't take long, in about a year, that they were really receptive and really happy and so thankful. And they asked, no, we want to meet somebody that's high up in the organization, whatever. So the volunteer rep, come in Nermien, we're going to go visit the family. So the mother, I remember, she goes, at first, I want to thank you because without this service, I couldn't raise my children. Secondly, please, I have one request. And I was like, sure, tell me. There's another family whose father died. Please enroll them into your program as quickly as possible, because we don't want for them to suffer. Just as God blessed us, we want that they're also. And it was sitting there in that woman's home that I decided, we're going to double the 10,000. It's going to be 20,000. Give us time, but with God's grace and God's blessing, we will.
Wow. Matt, do you have any messages for the people out there who want to get involved but maybe are a bit hesitant or need that inspiration or drive?
The only thing I can say is we're all one body of Christ. That's where it comes from. I've been giving blessing, life and stable country, money, what have you, whatever, you know, like I need to share because it's not mine. I've been entrusted to have this blessing. I haven't done anything to deserve to live such a life, and those haven't done anything wrong to have this hardship. God allowed that to happen so we can stretch our hands and our love and open our hearts for those people. And this way we witness for Him and become real Christians. We're not going to love with words and text messages and all that. Now, you have to go and even if you don't have, you know, like if you believe that you don't have enough money, why don't you suffer a little bit? Little bit. You're not gonna die of hunger, but those people, if they don't get the support, they may die of hunger. So now it's do anything and sponsor and feel the blessings in your life, because as the doctor mentioned here in the video we heard, that God may batch madyun, meaning he's never be in debt to anyone. He will always bless, and whatever we give, He will give us more and more. So we get entrusted on more and more to give more and more. Let the cycle start and don't hesitate. If you think, go for it. And as I said, it's something to experience, not to talk about. It's a taste in your mouth, in your heart. You will have it and you won't forget it. That's what happened to me. I was distant away from that feeling, but now I have to admit I've been addicted.
And Nermien, any message to the people out there who are itching to serve and they want to do something? What do you have to say for them?
I tell them, try it and get started. Very much like Ahmed, just start. It doesn't take a lot. It's not a huge sacrifice. And as Mother Teresa always says, you have to give until it hurts. And just as Christ gave until it hurt, all the way until death. And so how far we are from that, how far we are from giving until we even feel it. We don't even feel it. So it's time. This giving actually changes lives. It really does change children's lives. And we're not only changing children's lives, we're changing an entire country. I mean, with the numbers that we're doing and the effect that we're having, and as you say, you saw Dr. Nashid now is helping others. It's the ripple effect. We're changing a country. So be part of this wonderful movement and do great things.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure having you, and thank you, Ahmed, for sharing your experience and hopefully you inspired someone out there. Thank you, Nermien, for telling us about Coptic Orphans and maybe encouraging people out there to get up and do something and give back to people, because that's what we're here for. That is our purpose, is to give and not to receive.
Exactly.
Thank you. Pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you to our audience members who've tuned into tonight's show. We had one big show, 2 charity groups, 2 segments on the show. Thank you for your involvement and for the questions you sent through. I'm Mina Ibrahim from your CYC studios in Sydney. Good night and God bless.